Pursuing Capital. What's going on, Toronto? We have a special guest for episode 4, co-founder of Applied Knowledge, Datrice Mulsumo. What's going on, man? How you feeling today?
Man, I'm doing really good. And actually CEO of Applied Knowledge. So
CEO.
CEO of Applied Knowledge. And welcome, Toronto. Thank you guys for having me. So wonderful, to be able to spread some love over there all the way across the country. So
Absolutely.
Definitely a pleasure to be speaking with you guys today.
Likewise, man. Likewise. So, you know what? I want to start off with just understanding how you got to where you got to at such a young age, your journey, some of the ups and downs that you had to go through to really push yourself and be mentally tough and to take all those hits and still progress and be who you are and motivate other people to do the same.
Absolutely. A little bit about me is that I'm not born in America, right? So the fact that I even do sales and communication, I had to overcome so many obstacles, like just being able to speak English, just being able to, communicate and build rapport and have people like you and trust you. You guys know how that is too, as well. It's like, being bullied as a young age. So I came from another country in West Africa, where I call Liberia, Monrovia, small country, just the size of the state that I'm in right now in the United States. So very small country, very, third world country, not too much money over there. But, my family came here and they're able to, bring me over here too as well, where, I'm actually located in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now. I came here when I was 5 years old. So I came here when I was 5 years old and my mom's a twin. So I could barely even I couldn't even tell my parents apart for a second. But I came here at 5 years old, bullied, because I couldn't speak English really well. Yeah. Couldn't communicate with people, really well. I dressed different than everybody else too as well. My thoughts and my beliefs, everything was different. So people used to mock me about it. And I started taking these classes called ESL. Right, which is called English as a Secondary Language. And in those classes, they're supposed to help you with, communication and sales and not sales, but communication and being able to speak. And they started teaching me about hand gestures and moving my hands while I speak. So that way it can be able to help me, pronounce a lot better, more smoothly, and get my point across a lot better too as well. So I started taking those ESL classes, started learning how to communicate more, started getting friends, and I started playing sports and just regular kid like everybody else, right? Got friends through sports. Went to college, even though I had like a 2.0 GPA, I got offered a scholarship and I played D2 and D1 football, but I ended up dropping out. I dropped out just because it was just so much going on, so much pressure in college. It was so new environment. And then on top of that, I lacked the funds too as well. It was just very tough, staying at college. So I ended up dropping out and I said, you know what, I'm going to move to California. And I'm going to go to school out there and just, try to figure it out. If I play football over there, I play football over there. And I went to California and little did I know, California is expensive, right? Because I went out there with $500 at the age of 19 years old. Wow. And that $500 was gone in a week, right? Had no support, didn't have no friends over there, no family over there. I was dropped off in a place by myself and I stayed at a hostel. Right. So I was staying there with, in a new environment with new people every single week because people are traveling to a hostel. And I became homeless after I ran out of money. So I had no money, no income coming in, no friends, no family to stay with. So I actually went homeless for a little bit. And while I was homeless, I actually stayed on the beaches. I stayed on the benches. I went through a lot of stuff, just trying to make money here and there. I remember going to local businesses and asking everybody on the whole block for a job. But they all said no because I was underage and I didn't have an address. Right. So it was really, really hard for me to be able to, find opportunities. And I remember one day I had like my last $35. Right. I was like, man, I could stay at this whole hostel that's $35 a night, or I can get some food. I had to make that decision. It was one of the toughest decisions I ever made. But I made the decision just to, go lay my head that night. Right. So I went there. I paid the money. I had no money, no food, no nothing. I was hungry. And I ended up remembering walking into the kitchen in the dining place and I seen a bunch of people. And I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna put my pride down and kind of try to make some friends and see if I can get some food because nobody likes to eat in front of somebody when they're not eating, right? So I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to get some food and make some friends. So I ended up, making some friends over there and communicating with people, ended up getting some food. But that just taught me like, man, life's really about decisions. And I made it to put myself where I am right now.
And you could have made the opposite decision as well. Absolutely.
Exactly. I ended up crying a lot, going through it at 19 years old, being homeless, not even want to communicate with my parents to let them know because I knew my parents themselves were going through financial problems that time too.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking like, man, I don't want to be a burden. I remember reaching out to people asking for money, people telling me no. I remember all those times. And And one day, I went out, kept looking for a job, and I found somebody that I could really relate to. We had a great conversation. He ended up giving me a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that job at a taco shop, and I started making some money, made some more friends, room with some people. And once I got back on my feet, I flew back to Minneapolis, Minnesota from California.
Yeah.
And when I flew back, I had learned so much and experienced so much that nobody else knew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had to come back to my environment, act like everything was okay.
Yeah.
And I did that. And I ended up getting a regular job at LA Fitness as a sales rep. And when I got that job, that's when my journey began as a sales consultant, as a salesperson, and as a high ticket closer, because I had to sell gym memberships. But good thing that, all my experiences in California taught me how to survive, how to communicate, how to build relationships.
Exactly.
So closing gym memberships, $30 a month was easy for me. And I rose from being a sales rep to being a manager really, really fast. One of the fastest growing managers they ever had there. But at the end of the day, it was just a job. So I wasn't really making a lot of money. I was only making like $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
And, what happened was one day, one of my friends came to me, had his own business, e-commerce business. And he said, hey man, I'm looking for some high ticket closers to come and, sell my online course. I had no idea what he was talking about, like high ticket closer. I didn't even know how to spell entrepreneurship at that time. So he's telling me all this stuff, but he told me that he needed a salesperson and he knew I was really good at it. And he told me, hey, I'm willing to give you $500 per commission. And I'm like, $500 a commission? I'm getting 25 on my job right now.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in, right?
Yeah.
But the thing he told me is like, you got to start in 3 days. And I'm like, man, another decision, right?
Yeah.
Do I stay at my job, put my 2 weeks in and tell him, hey, I can't, start right now? Or do I just quit my job? And I remember over the weekend, I walked to my job and I was like, at that point in my life, I was already sick and tired of being sick and tired. I knew I was worth for more and I wanted to keep on going.
Absolutely.
I was vicious. So, I quit my job and I took on this opportunity and I went from making $24,000 a year at my job to when I quit, I made $232,000 that same year.
Mm-hmm.
The year after that, I did $1.2 million, which was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And now this year I have my own business and I'm pushing towards $3 million this year.
It's amazing, bro. That's amazing.
It's an amazing story.
An amazing story.
Yeah, going out to California, having to learn how to survive on your own, learn how to communicate, to get the things that you actually wanted.
Yep.
And Datrice, I just have a question because I think our viewers are going to be really interested in this. Did you find the closing for the $500 commission rates? Did you find the closing there to be more difficult than the closing that you had to do at the gym? Like, what was the difference in skill level?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was actually easier closing high ticket deals and making a bigger commission and getting $500 per sale than it was working at my job and selling gym memberships for $200 up front and $30 a month.
Why is that? Do you think?
Yeah, and the reason why is because they're totally different types of people looking for different types of things.
Mm-hmm. I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Go off on it.
That's the biggest thing too, because people that are willing to spend more, they're looking for something greater. They're looking for opportunity to be able to make more money, change their life, right? When someone's looking for gym memberships, although that gym membership can help you change your life, it's hard to convince somebody of that. So even $30 a month, people are saying, oh, that's too expensive. Mm-hmm. Like people at $30 a month, they're saying it's too expensive, but yet I've charged people as high as $35,000 this year. Mm-hmm. So, and they're both saying it's too expensive. So it became a mentality things of people only put money on what they value. People weren't valuing the gym as much and their health as much as they do valuing trying to make some more money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So I started, so if I want to sell a higher ticket product, I have to be able to, give the people what they want, be able to help them overcome their uncertainties, make them believe in themselves so they can take action. With a gym membership, it was so hard because you're speaking to people who are penny crunchers. They're trying to save every little penny, and nobody with a $5 mentality ever put $1 million in their bank account. So those are correct. It was like the biggest different things. Now speaking with people who just weren't willing to commit to themselves versus people who are just willing to spend more money on themselves.
Yep, definitely.
So it was a lot easier selling high ticket stuff than low ticket. Low ticket is it's stressful for me because I'm trying to fight you to pay for $30 on something I know is going to benefit you in your health.
Right. And definitely too, I guess when you look at it, when you're trying to sell gym memberships for $25 a month to somebody that only has $500 in their bank account, that's a lot harder sale than trying to sell someone on something for $10,000 a month if they have a couple million in the bank account, right? It's just totally different world.
I'll say yes, but no, because the person with the $500 in their bank account only I can still sell that person on a higher ticket product like 2,000, for example, because in life, whatever we put value on, we're going to do whatever it takes to get it, right? Like that girl we want, we're going to chase that girl.
Right.
We're going to try to get her, right? Even though she's out of our league, we're going to try to get her, right? Or if I told someone, hey, there's a Lamborghini outside your house right now in a mansion and $1 million in a safe, and all you got to do is come up with $1,000 and you have zero in your account right now. You're going to do whatever you can to get that Ferrari, because you know you can sell it, you can drive it, you can do whatever. So it's like whatever the heart desires, a heart can have. And the person who's trying to pay a high ticket, their heart is desiring change in their life. So they want to do whatever it takes versus the person looking for a gym membership. They don't see that, if they don't have that desire, it's going to be hard to sell them.
Mm-hmm. It's a great point.
So, man, how many, obviously your journey, your entire story, there's a lot of emotions behind it. And, they say that you shouldn't really be in tune with your emotions, but it kind of, you had your outcome and then you had two choices. You either answer to that or you either give up and say, this is life. I'm going to take whatever life gives me. I'm going to be homeless for the rest of my life. I'm going to be maybe work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. 40,000, like you said, you're making $3,000 every month, and you realize, like, what is this? I'm paying my bills, I pay my mortgage off, I pay my, my insurance, and I've got $400 left for me. What and how do people find what you currently have, the opportunities that you have, where they want to escape the 9 to 5 and get to a $100,000 situation where you're earning every year without having a degree, without having the skill set? Like, is it something that they can build? Is it something that they can learn?
Anybody can be able to change their situation and change their life, because your current situation is never your final destination. Mm-hmm. Whether you're successful, that's not your final destination, because whatever goes up can come down, mm-hmm. right? Whether you're down right now is not your final destination, because whatever is down can also go up, right? So I always tell people, if you're in a current situation right now you don't like, the first thing that you need to do is be aware of your situation. Right. And then you got to put your foot on the ground and say enough is enough, because, whatever you have in life is because of what you deserve. Mm-hmm. We put ourselves in situation a lot and then we complain about it. So I always tell people, if you're in a situation right now, you don't like your job, you don't like this, the door's right there. Mm-hmm. You're always welcome to be able to leave that door, but you have to understand the risk. And if you're willing to be able to understand saying, hey, if I leave my current situation, or if I go out there and go do something else, I understand that it's not going to be easy, because success is non-linear. It's not linear, mm-hmm. right? So just because you start today and you make a lot of money doesn't mean that the road to make a lot of money was easy, mm-hmm. right? It's going to be super hard. It's going to make you want to quit some nights. But if you're willing to do that, the first thing you need to do is go seek the information, because seeking you shall find. Mm-hmm. So once you're aware of your situation, you put your foot down, now you got to go seek. Because when I was homeless, but I was still ambitious, I remember going on YouTube and looking up how to make money fast. Mm-hmm. I was that kid, how to make money fast. Looking up, $1 million. I started looking up successful people. And I started, looking up, like, what do successful people do? Like, what do they do to make them successful? Mm-hmm. And then it led me to understanding, instead of me looking for what they do, I started seeing who they are. Once I seen who successful people are, and I started looking at who I am and looking at the people around me, mm-hmm. I knew that if I want any success in my life, I have to change. And I always tell this, I'm not trying to be derogatory, but I tell people, you got to kill yourself. Mm-hmm. Meaning that you got to kill the person you are right now and create your new alchemist and create the new person that you want to become. Because mm-hmm. success is who you become. So when you become that successful person, you'll get what that successful person deserves. So I started getting rid of friends. I started, I put down the weed, the drugs, the alcohol. I put down all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I stopped going out and partying because I was making an excuse because I'm young. Mm-hmm. Right? I started, not chasing women. Right? I started looking for, not chasing girls. Started looking for a woman. Mm-hmm. Right? I started making different decisions in my life and started putting my foot down on my own future. And then I started attracting things in my life. The third thing is now you're going to start attracting what you focus on. Mm-hmm. So when I was going through all that and I want to change my life, I started envisioning the life that I actually wanted. I used to go to dealerships all the time before I got my own Maserati. I used to go look at mansions and look at all these big places like, man, I want to live here one day. I want to be somebody special one day, somebody who could help people one day. And then, and then in that process of me, dreaming and envisioning, I kept working hard at whatever I did. And I kept on seeking and looking for more things, and things kept landing on my lap. Mm-hmm. And I tell people it's funny because the harder you work, the more you focus, the luckier you get. But the less you work and the less you're focused, you get bad luck. So it's like you can create good luck in your life. Like Steph
Absolutely.
Curry, he can shoot from half court and people will say that's lucky. That's not lucky. He's trained so much.
Absolutely.
He's
Right?
literally
So
shooting half-court shots before every game. That's how he can do it.
Yeah.
It's part of
He
his
deserves
warm-up.
to get lucky.
Mhm.
You have to deserve to get lucky. Like you have to deserve to get success. So anybody want to change their situation, they have to be willing and able, and they need to start taking action and start seeking. Start
Exactly.
looking for stuff. Go on social media. There's so many gurus these days, so many people that can help you these days, right? Now you have to identify who's the right one for you, but
Exactly.
there's so many people out there that can help.
Exactly. Agreed. There's more opportunities than there were in the past 10 years in the history of time. And it's all in your hands. Everybody has a cell phone nowadays. 90% of us, 95%. It's a high number, right? And if, like you said, seek and you shall find. Opportunity is always there. You have to sort of identify who can kind of relate to your story, your journey, and then, use them as, whether it's a leadership, it's to learn, it's to understand why they are the way that they are. Like you said, you went to YouTube, you saw successful people, you were asking the right questions. The kid in you was asking the right questions, and then you started to imaginate that to how you would be when you were successful, and then the consistency of it, and then you deciding your outcome is going to be your income. 3, 4, 5 years later, you're reaping the benefits of that. And that's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful story. And the thing is, you're young, bro. You're extremely young, so like I can only imagine where you're going to be in the next 5 years, right? And it's beautiful. The thing that makes me really connect with you is that you're not doing this for yourself. You're like, I want to be the best version of myself so that I can help others around me that have faced the same struggle, that have faced the same type of situation that you've been in, and you don't want that for them. And you've got that voice, right?
Absolutely. And I love the fact that, I'm a little bit younger and I get it now, even though I wish I would have got it earlier because kids nowadays getting it at like 12, 13
14.
years old.
Yeah.
But, right now I understand that it's not even about the money I make right now.
Exactly.
It's not about it at all. It's about the people I'm impacting, the network I'm building, the things I'm learning, because it's time plus consistency equals results. So I know that everything that I'm doing right now, I'm not going to get my success right now for it. I get my success later for it. So I'm looking like, man, I got to keep on working hard and keep on doing things. So by the time I'm 30, 40 years old, I can be like, man, I'm so glad I started earlier. I want to say that because you're either going to get to 40 years old and say, man, I'm so glad I started earlier, or you're going to be like, dang, I wish I would have started earlier, or dang, I wish I could start now. And it gets harder to start as you get older. It's like lift weight. The fatter you get, the harder it is to start.
Absolutely.
So I tell people you better start now before it adds up.
And that's the thing with our generation, man, is, we're all result oriented, which is a great thing. But some of us expect those results that have taken some people a decade to build. Like you look at someone, you're like, how did he become so successful? How does he have $40 million? How does he have 50 million followers? You got to understand his day one was probably in 2008 and he's worked 12, 15 years to get to where he is. So you can never compare your first year with somebody else's 20th year, right? And that's it, man. It's understanding that journey and understanding that it's not going to happen in 3 months. It's going to happen in 10 years, but am I going to be consistent enough to do the same thing as a routine for the next 10 years, right? Just like how you said Steph Curry, he's been shooting since he was like 6 years old, man.
Of course he's going to be good at it, right? Like John Maxwell told me something too, where it's like, he's like, yeah, look at all the success I have, right? I have like the most bestsellers and I've done all this records. It's like, well, the only way you can break records is if you're old. Only way you can have the most bestsellers if you're older. So it's like, this is going to take time. You can't, you can't break records when you're just starting because you don't have the longevity.
No,
so you're looking at all these accolades. It's like, hey, if you want these accolades, you better wait a couple more years and let it add up rather than trying to get it now.
And understand, like you can go back and take a look at your life. Am I doing the right things where in 5 years, if I keep that consistency aspect of it, will I get there? And you have to be true to yourself at the end of the day, man. Like if you're going to lie to yourself, that's a completely different conversation. But if you can honestly say, yes, every single day I'm putting in the work to know that in 5 years, I can accomplish some of the things that the successful people that I look at have accomplished.
It all comes back to that. It's all about the work. So Datrice had two very important points. The first one was he visualized. You have to visualize where you want to go. And I feel like 99.9% of the population is visualizing. We're all looking at our fancy cars. We're all looking at big houses. We're all, Googling celebrity net worths. We're all, we're visualizing, we're looking, we're seeing where we want to be, and we're admiring where other people are. But I think the one thing that separates people that actually become successful and those that don't is the second part of that. After you visualize, you have to have the action. You have to put in the work. And the thing that really, really successful people are really good at are they have a high action rate. They are always doing something. They're actually putting their feet to the pavement, building businesses, making the calls. They're doing all sorts of things to actually bring that visualization into reality. A lot of people talk about speaking money into existence. You actually visualize, and then you have to put in the work to bring that forward. So everybody visualizes where they are, and then you got to bring it forward.
That's so huge that you said that too, because successful people are action takers for many reasons. And one of the reasons being that we fail faster. If I can get my foot on the ground and dig and go and keep going, and you're just sitting there, not doing nothing at all, I'm failing. And every time I fail, I'm learning. So every time I fail, I learn from my experience. I learn what works and what doesn't work. While you're just sitting down doing nothing, right? And if a lot of people know me, they're watching this, they're gonna know that I change decisions really fast. I change really fast. I'll say one thing one day, and the next day I'm like, I don't like it no more. Let's do something else.
Exactly, for the right reason though.
Yeah, for good reasons. Because when I see something's not working, I evolve it, I change it, and let's do something else. If I see it's not working, I have that depth of vision. I tell people depth of vision is really, really big, because you can look at something and see it for more than what it is. Like I look at your podcast and I look at, all the value, that you guys are bringing on the show. I'm not just seeing what you guys are doing right now. I'm seeing like, man, you guys are impacting a lot of people. So people don't think too far, and they don't have too much of a depth of vision. Exactly. So I have a big depth of vision. Everything that I do, I see from a different angle than a lot of people do. Exactly. That's what successful people have that a lot of people don't have naturally, that muscle to be able to, look at things bigger than what they are. Exactly. Like Warren Buffett makes investment people would have never thought would have made, but he made those investments, and he's one of the greatest investors, right? Because he sees things most people can't see. Absolutely.
It's the same for a lot of these billionaires, man. You see Jeff Bezos, he's not doing a lot of things what ordinary people are doing. There's probably 6-7 people in this whole entire world. And like you were saying, I remember when I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he's like, you can't compare yourself with people like that because they're extraordinary. But I feel like we have the type of mindset that we can influence a lot of people, because there's, I want to say average people that are listening to us, they can do the things that we're doing. They can apply this to their life, the skills that we have. They can apply this to their life to make their decisions that they're doing in their life even better. And that's the whole point. That's the value that we're looking to build. Like that journey, talking about our experiences, what we're going through, and then somebody else is watching this saying, okay, like I've experienced this in my life because we're either the same age, we're going through the same thing. I'm running a business as well. I'm having difficulties in creating a brand, creating awareness, whatever it is, we're talking about it because it's actually what we're doing now.
We've actually done it. Yeah. We've actually done it. We're trying to motivate people to take them from the visualization state to take them to the action state. A lot of people are sitting down waiting on the bench like the bus is coming. I hate to tell you guys, there is no bus. You are the bus. You got to get up and move down the road. Nobody's going to carry you down the road. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, action is everything, and it's super important too as well for people.
Exactly, man. So what's going on, man? Like where, how do you feel about where you're at right now, and where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I feel really good because I don't focus on the business. I focus on really high income skills.
Yeah.
Comes to communication, sales, objection handling, helping other people, solving problems. I'm learning skill sets right now. I feel like a newborn baby getting new into this entrepreneurship and this success journey. So I'm learning it. My brain is picking up so many different signals. So I'm focused on that so much because that also makes a lot of money. It makes the most money.
Absolutely.
Every successful person will tell you that communication is one of the number one thing when it comes to success, right? Warren Buffett said that if he never took a Dale Carnegie sales course in college, he'll be the richest person, stockbroker in Omaha, Nebraska that nobody ever knew. So communication is super important. So now when I'm teaching other people how to be able to make $100,000 without starting a business, I'm showing them that you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You can start off as an internpreneur, right? Meaning the fact that you can actually close deals and sell and communicate for other businesses that are already successful.
You don't even need to start a business yourself to make a lot of money, is what you're saying.
You don't need to start a business at all to make a lot of money, right? Work with someone who's already making a lot of money and ride the wave, right? Get on the train, make some money, learn some high income skill sets, learn how they're doing it, because there's something called the wealth triangle. And the first part about that is learning a high income skill that can make you $10,000 whenever you want to. Because you can sell, you can communicate, you can sell something to make money. Then after that, you use that money to start a business. Because now the worst time to start a business is when you don't have no money, right? Which a lot of people do. It's like, why don't you go make the money and then go start a business? It's like, duh, right? So you want to make that money from your high income skill set and then start a business, and that business is going to generate you cash flow. Then you use that cash flow to put into investments, right? When you put that into investments, now your money's making money without you doing anything at all. And then you just rinse and you repeat and you keep that triangle going. You'll get that financial freedom. But most importantly, when you learn a high income skill set, you have financial confidence.
Exactly.
You know how to communicate.
That's a very good point, and Shan and I definitely do have a lot of experience with that, because for our businesses, the amount of businesses that we've launched in 1 year, with the amount of marketing dollars, PR stuff, and actual just product development and sourcing, we couldn't have done all that if you hadn't been extremely successful in real estate. I couldn't have done that if I haven't been successful in the stock market. So we definitely honed in on our skills to be able to launch these businesses. So that's a great point.
And then more than anything, it's the high income skills, right? Like for me, I feel my value, I mean, obviously allocating a good amount of capital to start these businesses and these investments is very important, but the high income skills that lets you to be alert, less naive, to make better decisions, right? Because there are so many stock managers, so many crypto portfolio managers that are out there. You just want to make the right decisions. How do you make the right decisions? You have to educate yourself and all of that. And I feel like high income skills, whether it's sales, whether it's you going to get a higher education, that really helps.
So we got to ask Datrice, because I know a lot of our viewers are sitting there wondering. Take us through a sample high ticket closing call.
Absolutely.
We have to hear it.
This is exciting.
Well, absolutely. So a high ticket, closing deal is very simple, because you're going to be speaking to warm and you're going to be speaking to hot leads. People who are already interested. They've already been sold through marketing, through advertising, through maybe even connecting with the business owner themselves in some type of way, but they're interested and they're opting in. So the first thing that I do when I get on the phone call is that I want to make sure that I do small chat, right? I just want to just speak to somebody, see where they're from, see, how they're doing, just communicate with them, because a lot of people, you ever get these sales call where someone calls you and the first thing it says,
transactional.
Hey, this is what we're calling you for, to be able to do this. Like, you feel like someone's cold calling you and trying to hard sell you on something. But when you first start a phone call, when you small chat with somebody, it puts them at ease. Like, they're not just trying to sell me right away.
Exactly.
Everybody's used to getting sold right away. So when I do my small chat, I get to speak with them, warm them up. And then I always ask a question of, where are they located? And then where are they from? Because when I know where someone's from or where they're located, it tells me a lot about that individual. So when I use that in my call. So once I do some small chat, I always ask them, what motivated them to actually even schedule the call. Because I'm not here to sell you, I'm here to close you. So what made you want to actually schedule this call and reach out? And once I found out that information, I get to use that information to actually go through my call. I overcome objections. I solve people's problems. But at the end of the day, it's all about me helping somebody overcome any uncertainties so they can take action.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing that you just mentioned, it's all about empathy. You really have to be able to empathize for your customers, your clienteles, show them that you care, that you're listening, and 50% of that sale is building that friendship. If they don't like you as a person, you're not closing that deal. Yep. And a lot of people, man, they're great cold callers, they're great, appointment makers, but closing is probably one of the hardest tasks in sales. But once you're a closer, 90%, 80% efficiency rate, that's when you become a real salesman.
Yep. Good salespeople, I think, understand that. Good salespeople understand the product really, really, really well. Exactly. Great salespeople understand that it's not about the product.
Absolutely. And that's so important too as well, that people understand the product, but most importantly, understand the transformation that somebody is getting. So when I get on the phone call with them, I already know what transformation someone's looking for.
Value.
This person, they have no income already. They want to be able to learn they want to be able to make some money. They're looking for a guarantee opportunity. They're looking for, transition. They want to get on the phones. They want to make money easily. They want to sell something. They want to start closing right away.
Exactly.
But, so when I get on that phone call, I understand the transition and the transformation they want. And I have to find a way to give it to them in a way that they understand. I got to paint the picture for them so they can see it.
Exactly.
Right. Because a lot of times people are going to paint a picture for you and they're like, I don't get it.
Yep.
So I got to make sure I paint it in a way that they understand so they can be able to take action to make that decision.
Exactly.
And I have such a good closing rate because I believe that somebody's either going to buy now or buy later. There should be no reason why someone's going to tell me no, because they're warm and they're hot. They already want something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not rich already. You need to find a way to make some money. If you don't have no money, if you woke up and your bank account is negative, you got to take action, because the worst thing to do is be broke and lazy. Like, that should be you can't be broke and lazy. Right? Like, there's people sitting down at home with negative 2,000 in their bank account and they're watching Netflix. Like, you're taking up space. Like, take action.
I'm dying over here.
Bro, I know a couple of people. We're not going to say any names here, man.
But it's true. Like, being broke and lazy should be a sin, because it's like, when I get on the phone with somebody, I'm like, man, take action. You know, your situation already sucks. What do you have to lose? Right?
Yeah,
like Grant Cardone talks about it. Like, if you have $500 in your bank account, that's $500. Like, you better invest that, because you're better off investing it than trying to spend it.
Yeah, exactly. You better do something with that to advance yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You're trying to hold on to the little money, but you're wishing for the big money. I scratch my head like, huh? Because at the end of the day, it's like the money that you have, because even when I start a business, all my profits are going back into my business, back into my business, right? In the Amazon documentary I watched, it took Jeff Bezos 20 years to start getting profits.
Yeah.
Who's willing to? Everybody wants what Jeff Bezos has, but who's willing to take 20 years with no profit?
But he was
Jeff
eating.
Bezos also, he was struggling.
Yep.
He was really struggling at the beginning. He had to ask his parents for $300,000 to build Amazon. So let me tell you this: who out there is willing? Well, first of all, your parents have to have $300,000, but let's assume that they did. Who would ask their parents for $300,000? Not a lot of people. And if you do ask for it, you better hope that you turn that into $1 billion business. So you have to have, again, he was down on his luck and he had the humility to ask for a whole bunch of money. And once he got it, he made sure he didn't slip.
Yep. Same thing with Bill
don't,
Gates, man.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to talk to
Exactly.
people. Don't be afraid to beg. If you want something really bad, put some action behind it. Put some work behind it. Find a way. However you can, just find a way, because that's what winners do. That's what successful people do.
And what Datrice mentioned as a point is he gets into a situation that, whether it's in business, he knows that the first few times he's going to fail, but it's his willingness and his mental toughness of knowing that whether I fail or not, I'm doing that so I can get it right. Whether I fail 100 times to get that right, whether I fail 20 times to get it right, I'm still going to do those steps. And that's what's important, man.
Yep.
And then people,
people are you're either growing or you're dying. That's it. You're either growing or you're dying. That's any life or organism. You're either growing or you're dying.
Yeah, man.
Some good things in and getting good results out, or you're putting bad things in and getting bad results out.
That's it.
So I always tell people, take action, keep moving forward, bet on yourself. Right? Put your foot on the ground. Like, I got to the point, man, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I like that line. My uncle uses that line.
Yeah,
Sick and tired of being sick and tired, bro. Like,
it's real though. It's real.
It's true. Yeah.
A lot of people compound their misery and compound their lack of inaction over and over and over again, and never learn, and that becomes their whole life story.
But
but you really have to, get sick and tired of being sick and tired, to put some action out there, to actually move and do something, change your reality. Like I said, the two most important things you said, Datrice, is you said a lot of good things here, and you told us your story, and it's an absolutely amazing story. But the two things that stick out, and that it's in every part of the story that you told, is visualization turned into action. Action. I can't stress that enough for all of our viewers. Action. That's really all it takes. Just start something.
Exactly. And one thing I loved about your story is, which, you know, a lot of it, man, like I come from an immigrant background as well. So I've got a very similar story, not knowing the language, having to learn the language, being made fun of because of my culture being a little different than, you know, right now I feel like we are in a time where it's extremely multicultural. I don't think our generation will be going through stuff like that, but we were one of the first ones that experienced that, right? And you allowed your situation, you took that, you didn't expect handouts. You never felt entitled. You knew that it was your situation and only you had the ability to make those changes. And I feel like a lot of people need to take that in and understand how important it is to take responsibility of your own life. Always. If you ain't growing, what? What's that line, bro?
You're not growing, you're dying. So you pick.
I love that, man. If you're not growing, you're dying. That's the message for this podcast.
Absolutely, man. Going through so much in life, man, and you know, just seeing my parents working. Like sometimes it got to the point where I hated going to my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see my parents doing labor, working,
Exactly.
feeling tired. Like I'm like, man, like I got sick of seeing that picture.
Exactly.
I got to go do something about it. I can't be here watching it. I got to go do something. So it's like I see so many people that I get on the phone with that want to change their life, that want to take action. But they're the same people that's sitting on the couch watching TV while their parents are still working and working a job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I can't be
It's
chilling while
bother
my
you.
parents are working. It you know, kind of crawls my skin because and that's part of us
100%.
being immigrants. We value family so heavily.
Of course, bro.
So it's like everything that I'm doing right now is to be able to help my family because my parents did such a good job, and I call that success of bringing me from another country over here. That's success.
Exactly.
Because they gave me the baton, they gave me the opportunity, right? So now it's like with this opportunity, there's no way that I'm about to drop this baton. I cannot.
Can't
My
say.
parents made a big leap. I'm gonna make a big leap for the next generation.
Exactly.
Right. And it comes with pride. Like, you know,
Exactly.
pride is not always a bad thing. You got to take pride sometimes in yourself and your family. Right. Like my last name means something.
Yeah.
Right. You look at Ferrari, last name, Lamborghini, last name. All these people were wearing their last names.
Mm-hmm.
Your last name has to mean something too as well. Because otherwise, when you pass away, people are only going to notice your headstone. That's it.
That's it, man. It's crazy. And, you know, like just to think about a lot of people that like, you know, go through similar situations. It's really unfortunate for the ones that give up and like really let that negative energy impact or that negative thought process impact the rest of their lives. And they live 30, 40 years doing nothing. And then they come into this self-realization and then really put themselves down. But, you know, when you take that action, I think it's a very important topic for today. Taking action rather than always thinking about what you want to do, right? Powerful. It could change your entire life.
And there's so many different things you could do too. Like there is no like one business that you have to be in to be successful. There's so many different ways to make money. You can do it our way. You can do it a million different types of ways. And that's why I like this podcast and I agreed to come on and do this with you is because there's a million different ways.
Mm-hmm.
We're just selling, you know, that business or success mindset, that entrepreneurial spirit. But there's a million different ways that you can use that to make money. And all it really takes is action. Just get up and do it. Oh, I don't want to get up and do it. People say, I don't want to get up and do it because, oh, there's all these other bigger brands and they're doing this and they're really good at that. There's 7.8 billion people on the planet. I'm sure you can find a few thousand, 10,000, even 100,000 people somewhere in the world that would be willing to do business with you. There's just too many people out there for it not to be. And so it just becomes, as Datrice said, time plus consistency. That's really all it takes. If you spend enough time on it, if you're consistent, you're going to find those people somewhere on the planet that are going to do business with you.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I love that you touched up on that because people have such a fear of like starting. Starting is always a hard thing, but like once you start, it's hard to get, you know, stop. So and I tell people like, don't be afraid because you're looking at all these big brands and all these big people. Like you guys are in real estate. You understand there's so many people that have $1 billion portfolios, but you're still eating in real estate. Still room for you to grow in real estate, even though everybody else does it. Yeah. Right. So I always tell people you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're trying to compete. Don't compete. Differentiate yourself. Either differentiate yourself or dominate. There's no competition.
Yep.
Like I'm not trying to compete with people that do what I do. I'm trying to dominate and I'm trying to differentiate myself.
Exactly.
So
you have to be a disruptor.
Look at what somebody else is doing.
Absolutely. You have to be a disruptor. There's no way that you can go into a market or a niche and say there's too much competition for me. That's already the wrong mindset, right? So if you're not gonna have the mindset of being a disruptor, it's gonna be very difficult for you to actually wake up and be motivated to do what it is that you want to do, right?
That's it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so thankful for you guys bringing me on the show here too.
Of course,
as well.
man. Of course.
Appreciate it.
I think it was a wonderful show. I think you talked about a lot of pain points, especially for sales, overcoming some of these, not even overcoming, but like understanding what it is that you need to work on in order for you to be the best at your craft, especially when it comes to sales. A lot of people that are looking to make $150,000, a lot of the time without any education, without really a lot of skill sets, any trades that you really understand, sales is where you want to be. You're able to make, somewhat of the same money as a doctor that went to school for 10 years. That's making $300,000 as a surgeon, right? So, yeah, I feel like, this podcast goes to a lot of people that are in that sort of situation, but, want to understand where they can make that money.
This was great. Thank you, Datrice, for coming on and sharing your whole life experience with us.
Exactly.
With us, it was hugely beneficial.
Thanks, man.
Okay,
We'll keep in touch, man. We'll keep in touch. I know I'm going to be following your journey, and likewise, I think it'll be interesting. Who knows what we'll be able to do in the future as a project, as something that we can kind of team up. We want to expand in the U.S. and, we'd love for you to show us around if we're ever in California.
Absolutely. And come around any single time. And it's not going to be my last time on here either.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll
exactly.
be back.
Exactly. Once you make your next stride, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to see you on IG celebrating. I'm like, let's talk about this on the podcast.
100%.
$10 million next year.
10 million?
I'm telling you guys
I like
right
that.
now.
I like that.
$10 million
That's
next
it, man.
year.
That's it.
Accountable to that.
So let's see if we can both come on this podcast and say that we're all actually aiming for 10 million. That's
let's do it.
That's one crazy thing, bro.
$33,000 a day.
Exactly.
$33,000 a day,
That's
$1 million per month, $12 million a year.
That's it, bro. We're running the numbers. It's crazy because we have the same type of mindset. Like all three of us here, we're like, okay, what are we aiming for? 10 million. And obviously that's not where we're going to stop. It's like those small strides and accolades that you have to meet in order to get to the next, goal. So it's cool, man. I really hope by 2022, December 30th, we can come on here before that, if we can, and say 10 million a year was accomplished. That's the best way to end this podcast, man.
Time plus consistency equals results. That's good. Let's get it.
All right, Datrice. All right, man. Have a good one, man. Pleasure.
Take care.
All right, guys. Well, that was episode 4, CEO of Applied Knowledge. That was Datrice Mulsumo, a wonderful guest, very talented individual, 25 years old. So, all of his accomplishments, that was a lot, man. I was really impressed and really proud of that guy.
Definitely, yeah. For 25 years old to be where he is now, to actually understand that entrepreneurial mindset and have that high action rate at this point in his life is absolutely amazing.
Exactly.
I think he's going to do our viewers a whole lot of justice as to understanding, it's just action. It's just time and consistency. And if you can put those together, you're going to get the results. And we've touched on this before, I believe in our first podcast, where, we said, just because you put the time and consistency in now doesn't mean you're going to get the results right away now. So you have to understand that putting that time and consistency in right now will lead down the line to you getting the results. But you have to see it through. You have to have the action and the consistency to see these things through. And that's the most important thing.
Exactly. Pursuing Capital, episode 4. It's crazy, man. We're kicking ass here. I feel like every week we're just getting more we're getting more information off of each other and then involving somebody else. There is a lot of information, even myself, that I was able to attain from him. So it's great.
Absolutely.
Guys, leave your comments below if you know any individuals that are like-minded, that are into business, that you feel like would be nice on this podcast. I think you guys should subscribe and leave a comment on who that person is. Cheers. Let's go. Pursuing Capital. Cheese.